All right, y'all. All right. All right, y'all.
Are live. All right, we are live, and we have audio. I think, and we have the mic is on.
Oh no. All right. We are live, I think. Oh my goodness. This is the most embarrassing moment of my life. Guys, let me know in the dang chat if we have audio or not. Do we have audio or not? I just got a new mic. Let me know if we have audio or not. What the heck? I literally just got a new mic. It came yesterday. Are you serious? Alright, this is a little bit better. What the heck? We are live, guys, on this beautiful, absolutely beautiful Sunday afternoon. God bless everybody. In the name of Jesus, Yeshua the Messiah, I pray you and your family are super blessed as Bitcoin is pumping, baby. Alright, Bitcoin is absolutely pumping right now, as can be seen on the chart from the setup given in the Casper Crew VIP Discord, taken in real time, guys. Alright, we are short from the top, long from the bottom. Setups given in the Casper Crew VIP Discord. If you want to join the best dang trading community in the world, you can go to jasontratham.com. The title of the video is Max Pain to the upside or to the downside. Bitcoin is potentially, guys, potentially setting itself up for something very intense that's going to shock the world. Alright? We're going to be talking about the weekly. We're going to be talking about the break of this range. We're going to be talking about what lies ahead this week. Very big things for Bitcoin coming up. This range is breaking, y'all. Make sure to smash up the likes, guys. Make sure to smash up the dang likes. Alright. Major shout out to everybody in the chat right now. Shout out to Getchy, he says we can hear the treadmill. Yeah, you can. Needs background suppression on the mic. Yeah, it does. Shout out to Splash for Our Films. Shout out to J-Boy Bullish. Shout out to the Engineering for Today and the 375 with his dang address. Shout out to Probably on Tilt. He says we had the audio for a second in the beginning. Let me give it one more shot here, guys. Let me give it one more shot.
Yeah, I didn't think first. I don't think this is working right now. This working? Let me know if this works. Give me a shout if this works. Look, I'm not a dang tech guy, alright? I don't know anything about technology. I'm not in crypto for the tech. And I'm not in crypto for the tech. Well,
I guess, guys, we're gonna have to listen to the treadmill. Dang. Not good for the views, I guess. Alright. Well, whatever. Whatever. I'm gonna do the stream. I'm gonna do the dang stream, alright? As planned. Alright, first of all, as usual, if we get 1,000 likes from the first half hour, we'll be giving away $1,000. Make sure to sign up on KCEX and BLOFIN and WEEX. Alright, also, guys, we have some interesting things in the news today. First of all, Bitcoin top predictions for 2026. If the 4-year cycle is still in play, Bitcoin will dump to 32,000 in January. One analyst predicted. Alright, so we've got a few different scenarios here for the Bitcoin price. First of all, we've got some bullish scenarios, all right? Some analysts believe Bitcoin could rally and form a strong pattern, needing a break above 94,000 to confirm an uptrend, according to this article. And 94,000, as we know, is basically the top of this range, guys. All right, so the analyst in this article is saying all we need to do is break and hold above this previous high, and this is now going to confirm continuation. Now, I don't quite agree with that analyst here, but it is something that's being talked about. All right, the next bullish scenario here is that an all-time high would come later in 2026 with targets like $210,000. That's pretty wild to me. Now, of course, if the 4-year cycle is broken, that's the only way this is going to happen. All right. If you're not aware, the 4-year cycle is based on the Bitcoin halving. About 500 days after the halving, it's the top, and then we end about 9 months in a downtrend before the bottom is in, and then we begin a big pump for about 3 years. And of course, 500 days after the halving, this time brought us right to October, the top. And since that time, we have broken down from the bull market trend line. And so really, this is not a good look for Bitcoin, especially since we have high time frame bearish divergences. Now, the only way that this could turn bullish is if we actually reclaim the trend line and then do something like that, right? That's the only way this could really turn bullish. Of course, we cannot predict whether or not that'll happen, right? This is something that we'll have to see down the road. And if the Bitcoin price just so happens to pump, get a break and a back test with some bullish signs, that's the only way we'll really be able to know if that 4-year cycle is broken. All right. Now, there are also some bearish scenarios for this 2026. Some analysts are arguing that the traditional 4-year Bitcoin cycle is still in play, which means if that 4-year cycle is still in play, guys, I mean, historically speaking, we retrace down to the area around the Fibonacci 786. This case is going to be below $40,000. All right, happens every single time. Every single time that's happened. And so it's very interesting to see the split within the Bitcoin community right now. People saying the cycle's broken, people saying it's not. Let me just say this. In the past, every single time, people have said, this time is different. In 2017, when Bitcoin hit $20,000, people were saying it's going to $30,000. In 2021, when Bitcoin hit $69,000, everybody believed it was going to 100K, and it didn't. Right? Both times the bear market happened exactly on schedule. I just want to throw it out there. Could this time be different? It could be. It always could be different. Here is one thing about I'll give you two things. I'll give you three things. I'll give you three things about this cycle that are very different than last time. Thing number one is the all-time high before the halving. All right, never in Bitcoin history have we seen an all-time high before the halving. We saw extra bullish price action in 2024, giving us that big old all-time high. I'm sorry, I have it back here. March 2024, we hit that all-time high before the halving. The halving happened a month later in April. The second thing that's different about this cycle is the scheduled bear rally pullback, which happens every single time from the Fibonacci golden pocket retracement. From the previous cycle all-time high to the bear market bottom, we reject from the Fibonacci 618. Historically, this has given us much more of a pullback. This time, it gave us a 20% pullback and then rally into a new all-time high before the halving. All right. The third thing that's very different about this cycle is the oscillator is printing a signal that historically has only printed at the bottom of the bear market. All right. Look at the very oversold dots on market Cipher B, way below the negative 60 line. These have only ever printed at the bottoms. All right. 2014, bear market bottom. We get the big dot on market Cipher B. All right, 2019, 18, big dot, that's the bottom. 2022, that's the bottom. Now remember, when you're printing a big bottom on the weekly, it doesn't necessarily mean that the exact bottom price is in. But it does mean, historically, that the bottom is very close. All right. In the case of 2018, it meant the bottom was in. In the case of 2015, it meant the bottom was very, very close. We did put in a double bottom. And in 2022, we also put in a double bottom. So we are seeing like a signal here that we've never really seen before at this point in the 4-year cycle. However, in previous bear markets, the money flow on the weekly did dip into the purple, which we are not seeing right now. We are not seeing purple money flow on the weekly. It's still in the blue. But nonetheless, there are some very different things about this cycle. Now, I'm going to stick to my bias until proven wrong, which is because of the 2-month bearish divergence, which historically has always meant 9 months of downside. 9 months of sideways and down. Like, it doesn't mean we're going straight down. All right, look what happens when we print the red dot. We go sideways for a few months. This is a 2-month time frame. Half year sideways, 2 months of big scary, and then bull market, right? Once again, we confirm the red dot in the 2-month. We have about, in this case, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 10 months of nothing, followed by 1 big month of scary, 2 months of big and scary, and then the bottom's in, right? So let's say, we got our red dot, which means so far, we still have 2 months left here. So far, we've had 4 months of nothing. Let's say maybe 5 or 6 months of nothing. That's going to put us right into the summer of 2026. We have 2 big months of big and scary. That's going to put us into the fall. And then we enter back into the bull run. Now, I'm going to go with what's happened in the past, right? If I had to choose, I would go, well, what's happened before? It's probably going to happen again. Very similar to it, right? But I'm open to the idea that this time could be a little bit different. Now, speaking of bear markets, this is quite interesting. Bitcoin, MSTR, formerly MicroStrategy, Q4 losses revive flash crash fears for Bitcoin. All right, strategy's losses mount. Could another flash crash be on the horizon? All right, bring me the horizon. A line from Pirates of the Caribbean, later adopted by the hardcore band called Bring Me the Horizon. Now, this is quite interesting. MicroStrategy is expected to report a multi-billion-dollar Q4 loss because Bitcoin's price wiped out much of its previous gains. The company's profits from Q3 were erased after a 24% drop. The MicroStrategy stock fell about 48% in 2025 and is now far below its peak, raising fresh doubts about the company's Bitcoin Treasury model. We take a look at MicroStrategy, MSTR, the chart, and look at this. I mean, this is, let's go to the monthly. All right, so we've got some serious problems here on the monthly, which is monthly bearish div, right? Monthly bearish div. Technically, it's not a bearish div. All right, we'll say it's what it is. It's not a bearish div on the monthly. It's dancing on the line on the weekly. All right, it looks close to a bearish div though. It could trick you if you weren't really thinking about it. I mean, it's dancing on the line. It's hard to say. But the thing that does freak me out a little bit is the fact that we have, in fact, flipped market structure bearish on the monthly, right? We have lost the previous support resistance flip right here. We've made a lower low after making a lower high. And, if they report something bad, it could cause another drop to the downside where our next support for MicroStrategy is around $100. All right, around $100. Now, keep in mind here what we've spoken about in the past, which is the average value, the average buy-in price of MicroStrategy's Bitcoin holdings is around 75,000 USD. That means if Bitcoin goes below 75,000 USD, they are in the red on their Bitcoin holdings, all right? So just imagine here a bear market scenario where MicroStrategy has to report giant losses Q4, billions of dollars. Next thing you know, Bitcoin's losing the bottom of the range, which is right around 75,000. Now they're in the red, okay? So their Bitcoin holdings are in the red, their stock price is plummeting. MicroStrategy CEO has said already that if the value of the Bitcoin is too low and their stock price gets too low, they're going to be forced to sell some Bitcoin in order to stay afloat. Now they're implementing measures to avoid this. They have a cash reserve right now to kind of hedge against what they are preparing for, a Bitcoin bear market. But there's still a scenario where they would be forced to sell some of their Bitcoin. Now, I know that bear markets typically have the event, the big event that causes the big capitulation that eventually gives us the next bull market. And it's my hunch that this time around it could be strategy and this rhetoric that Michael Saylor has been talking for years and years about how you should get another mortgage on your house to buy Bitcoin and this and that, and how he's super bullish. He's only going to buy, he's never going to sell. He sold one of his testicles on the black market to buy Bitcoin because you only need one testicle. All right, you only need one testicle, but there's a fixed supply of Bitcoin. If you don't buy it now, you're never going to get to buy it. So would you rather have 2 balls in the future and less Bitcoin, or 1 ball and more Bitcoin? Seems like an obvious decision to me. But this could be brewing something that I think could lead to some more downside. Now, if we get a flash crash on Bitcoin due to Strategy's loss report, that could actually give us a very interesting scenario that I want to talk about. Because remember, Jason Casper is in fact bearish on the 2-month, but bullish on the weekly. All right, Jason Casper is bearish on the 2-month, but he's bullish on the weekly. The reason why is because the bear month says the top is in. Sorry, the 2-month says the top is in. The weekly says we're due for some relief. All right. Imagine this scenario with me. The earnings report, profit loss report for MicroStrategy is revealed, and it reports a big loss. And this causes us to basically reject from resistance, maybe around 96, 97, and come all the way back down to here, to the bottom of the range, all right? Big flash crash. If this happens, I believe this could give us a really nice long trade setup. Here's why. There has never been a time in Bitcoin's history where the weekly can get this low and confirm a green dot where the bottom was not very, very close, right? This means the bottom is either in or very close. And if we do make another lower low, according to the historic data that we have on the chart, there's a 100% chance. I'm not saying there's a 100% chance in reality. I'm saying historically, whenever this happened, 100% of the time, it resulted in a fake out and a pump to the upside, all right? Every single time in Bitcoin's chart in history, when we confirm a very oversold weekly green dot like this, and then we make out that low, we take out that low again, it always results in a fake out, always has, where the candle doesn't close, and then we get a pump, all right? Because you can't have momentum this oversold and think we're gonna go straight down. We can't, and if we start to, it's fake, all right? It's fake news. And that would really open up, in my opinion, an opportunity to take a long, just to the resistance, support resistance flip that we have around 106 to 115, the previous all-time highs from December 2024, January 2025. Big support resistance flip right now. It was resistance, then it was flipped to support, and now it will be resistance again. And if we are indeed entering into a bear market, this would be a wonderful way to get people ultra bearish, wreck everybody shorting the bottom, pump us up, get everybody ultra bullish, we're so back, just to put in a lower high, to come down to some lower Bitcoin prices so that we can finally have a proper bull market starting later in this year, but ending, in yeah, let's say 2026 is where the low is put in. Then we've got ourselves maybe 3 years. 2029 is when we could see like massive Bitcoin pumps, maybe towards 200,000. You know, so that's a really interesting scenario right now. Okay, earnings report is bad for MicroStrategy. We get a flash crash, we get a fake out, we come up, trap some bulls, pump us back down. MicroStrategy has to sell Bitcoin, big bad. Then we enter into the bull market, right? Just an idea, just a thought. You got to be thinking about these things. You got to be thinking about these things, honestly. You know, last time it was FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried and all that. This time, could it be good old Michael Saylor? Michael Saylor. All right, now Bitcoin right now is coming up to none other than the Fibonacci Golden Pocket 786 zone. All right, this is local resistance. Of course, we're still in the long trade, given in the Casper Crew VIP Discord, taken in real time on Wednesday, December 22nd. Also still in the long trade that I gave on December 15th in the Casper Crew. Told everybody I was taking the trade on December 15th on a Monday. And of course, we're still in the short trade that was given in real time on October 6th at 3:48 p.m. from the exact top on Bitcoin, as can be seen right here. Okay, so we're in our positions. We're locked and loaded in the Casper Crew, ready to go, baby. Now, I want to take a look at the liquidation map. All right, this is the liquidation map on Bitcoin here. Let's go to the daily. I'm just curious. Let's go to the daily. I don't know if this has enough data to show me much here on the daily. Let's give it a refresh. This is a liquidation map where liquidations are. And it's very interesting. It's very, very interesting. Oh, crap. I lost my indicators. Let's put it back on here. Let's put on the Market Monkey liquidation map. Liquidation heat map. Let's go to our 4-hour. Let's go ahead and put on 25x, 10x, 75, 100x leverage. All right, now what we have here is a profile, right? Let's say profile over here on the right. This is showing us where the big liquidations are. So to the upside right now, max pain would be around $95.5 thousand. This is where we'd see massive amounts of liquidations right here. Okay, so if we're searching for liquidity, the market maker looking for liquidity in order to fill big orders. Right now, the market maker is incentivized to push the price up toward 96,000, 96, 97, where we have lots of liquidations that will be happening right here. All right. Now, if we zoom out a little bit more, we can start to see some more very interesting things, which is this. The next big chunk of liquidations isn't coming until around 116,000. All right, because of all this liquidity that we have here. When you see this choppy, gross-looking price action, right, where there's not very clearly defined highs and lows, right, it means there are stop losses stacked here, and we can see they ultimately culminate above this double top that we made on October 13th, and then again on October 27th. If we go back to a normal chart, we go to the 4-hour time frame here. Let's clear off all our drawings. Let's take a look at this, right? Look what we have here. We have this very interesting series of highs that we made back here in October, where there's the whole way up, basically, lots of liquidity. Hang on, it's hard to get my little guy here. The whole way up, we have lots of stop losses that will be hit, culminating with a massive amount of liquidations right around 117,000, which is just above these levels here, all right? So basically wrecking all these shorts. Now notice, this is actually going to be coming in right around our 786 Fibonacci, all right? In addition to that, if we take a look at all the volume of the range, let's go to our daily time frame. Let's look at all the volume of the macro range here. It's right around value area high as well, right? So it's a very technical level. Isn't it interesting that the first major zone of liquidations is right at our first major resistance, the POC, right around 95 to 97,000. Our second major zone of liquidations is right around the Fibonacci 786 and the value area high of the range, right? These are levels where price could get sucked up to big time. If we reclaim 96,000-ish, don't be surprised if very quickly we shoot all the way up to here. Remember, the weekly is very oversold. Everything's lining up for that push. Now, check this out. Look at this. We zoom out even more. Now look at this, all right? We've got a lot of liquidations. Let's make sure we can see all the price action here. Take some time to load. Yeah, look at this. This is crazy. We have many liquidations up here above the all-time highs. All right, the next major zone of liquidations is around $129,000, $130,000 Bitcoin. Super interesting. The reason why that is so interesting is because if we zoom out to the weekly once again and we look at the trend line that we broke into the downside, the bull market trend line. All right, let's go ahead and pull this thing through the price action. All right. Watch this. If we now get a rally up to back test this trend line, all right, it's going to take us above the previous all-time high, right? Where a lot of people have their liquidations, right? A lot of people are short with their liquidation above the all-time high because they're like, if the high is in, well, that's where the stop loss goes. That's where my liquidation happens. A max pain scenario would be where we literally destroy everybody at 96, destroy everybody at 118, and then destroy everybody by making a new all-time high, back testing the trend line, which was our support, which would now be resistance at a new all-time high. All right, see how that could work? It's now at a new all-time high. This is, we're talking end of January, early Feb, right? All-time high, and yet back testing what used to be support as resistance. And if that happens, we are going to get the ultimate bearish divergence on the weekly. The ultimate upside down Sam Bankman-Fried man boot pattern. Speaking of bear markets, this would be the ultimate SBF man boot pattern, all right? The ultimate revenge of Sam Bankman, all right? This pattern originated right before FTX went down, all right? This is one last pop for good old SBF out there in prison or wherever he is, right? So this very, very interesting scenario that could happen here, and it lines up perfectly with all these max pain levels to the upside as far as liquidations go, right? Super interesting, right? Isn't that super interesting? Let's zoom in locally here on our order flow for Bitcoin. Let's go to the 1 hour, the Uno Hora, and let's take a look what we see here. We are seeing some bearish CVD building up here, all right? Some bearish CVD building up right here at the local Fibonacci golden pocket. Okay, so within this range, we have some bearish CVD. All right. To be totally honest, I've opened up a little short. It's a small position. It's a small position here, but because of the bearish CVD, I've opened up a you could call it a starter position here on Bitcoin. If I get a better entry, I will add to it. All right. Obviously, it's basically at the entry right now. Basically at the entry right now, but we are seeing a little bit of bearish CVD happening right here in this local range, which could give us a move to the downside. But when we zoom out, we are actually seeing something quite interesting, which is the CVD is bullish, but the open interest is going down. So it's not the most bullish looking CVD in the world. It's actually really not that great. The only thing that looked good was the low we made on Friday, December 26th, which eventually did result in this big pop, but then we're back to where we started. And we did see some bullish CVD over here on Friday, Saturday, right over here, but nothing too significant to write home about. And right now, the CVD is slightly bearish, right? Because we're seeing more longs opening up in this range. People are trying to long what they think is a bull flag. And locally, we are seeing some absorption here because remember, when we see the price making lower lows and yet the CVD and the open interest are telling us longs are opening up, if more longs are opening up than shorts. And yet, the price is unable to continue in an uptrend and make a higher high, right? More longs opening up, you would expect a higher high because the price is driven by market participants. If there are more people longing than shorting, price will go up and make a higher high. If there's more people shorting than longing, price will go down. So, if you see a divergence where there's more people longing than shorting, and yet price is making lower highs, this is telling us that there is a whale here. All right, here's the whale. All right, this whale, do you know who he is? He's that fat, awkward guy with the really hot girlfriend somewhere in a yacht in the Caribbean on the winning end of all of our losing trades. All right, and this whale is just absorbing our longs right now. All right, he's saying, you know what? I want to short, and I need somebody who's willing to buy so that I can sell. Oh, what do you know? I've got myself some buyers here. Good old retail, long in the top. Let me go ahead and I'll buy from you guys because I'm going to sell, right? That's locally is what we see happening here. It's not the biggest CBD divergence in the world, but locally, this big old fat guy, belly hanging out, you know, Bud Light in the hand with a really hot chick, maybe 2 or 3, on a yacht in the Caribbean, on the winning side of all our losing trades, right? He's the guy we gave all our money to, right? Yeah, we turned 300K into 30K, right? Guess who has that money? This guy right here, right? So a little locally, we see that happening here. Nothing too crazy, nothing too crazy. You know, that's why I'm not risking a lot on this short trade. I'm risking a little bit. If I get a better setup, maybe I could add to it. But that's what we're seeing here locally. We're gonna go take a look at the market cipher and see what we can see on the good old MCB, baby. Look at me, market cipher B, wee-hee. All right, let's go and check it out. So the 1 hour does not look bearish. The 24-minute is looking a little bit bearish, but not too bearish. It actually looks like more upside is possible. The 12-minute does look pretty bearish, right? The 12-minute does look like a significant, when I say significant, I mean locally within the range. 12-minute does look like she does want a Bart Simpson pattern, right? The reason why is because the price is getting higher within the local range. The momentum waves and the money flow is getting lower, right? We're about to cross from the blue into the purple. And it looks like we want to go for the lows of this range where either we get a fake out and a pump or we actually break down. Now, so what's happening right now is Bitcoin is forming a local range. These local ranges are beautiful if you are a scalp trader because what they do is they give us the environment to look for trades, right? So right now there's 2 potential trades we should be looking for. The first one is going to be a short trade from the Fibonacci Golden Pocket 786 zone, which is right here, okay? So if we come up again into this zone and we see continued bearish divergence, as such, that is a beautiful place to look for the short. Now we also have a potential long trade here, which is this. If we come down and we take out the low here and the low right here, and we see a fake out, meaning the candle comes below, does not close below, candle closes back above, and we see on market cipher B bullish divergences, where the momentum's getting higher. That's actually a long signal, right? So there are 2 potential trades to be looking for right now. This would be a long with a target of, you know, a new high, basically. And then of course the short trade, we would be looking for this with the target of at least, you know, the TP1 down toward the low of the range here. Both of these are valid day trade scalp setups here, really, honestly. These are both valid trade setups. These are 2 trades you would always want to look for whenever you're forming a local range. And of course, we already had 1 trade play out, which is whenever you form a high, you mark that high. And if the price comes above, cannot hold above, and drops below the level, then you have yourself a short setup where you target down to the bottom of the range. And what do you know? That one played out like literally perfectly, right? So that trade has already played out. And so now, because we have ourselves a clearly defined low and a clearly defined high, we can pull our fib to the upside from that initial high to our current low and say, well, if this is our first high and we're about to change into a downtrend, we look for the lower high to come in right around here. and we target down to the bottom of the range, where we either look for a reversal or a breakdown, right? A reversal or a breakdown. And I'm talking a heavy breakdown. Heavy breakdown. China symbol, halftime China symbol, and you know, lots of, you know, whatever that stupid chord is that everyone played in the late 2000s during breakdowns, where it's like drop C tuning, but that low C string, you push the first fret, the next strings are open, and it gives this really dissonant. You guys know what I'm talking about. You know that stupid chord? That's the kind of breakdown we're talking about. Real hard and heavy. That breakdown could probably take us back to at least the golden pocket at around 90,000 for the back test, right? Let's go ahead and pull some local volume here as we are trading within this range. All right, let's see. This is called holiday price action for sure. I'm going to consider this our sideways range here. Yeah, we could see a back test between $89.5 and $90,000 if we Bart Simpson this. And actually, that would be a nice area to look for the a potential long trade, right? Holding this value area high. Let's go to our 4-hour market cipher B. So 4-hour market cipher B has a local top as well. Money flows bullish, no bearish divs, making me think we could see a little bit more upside after a move to the downside here. Very similar to what happened on Friday. If you guys remember the stream we did on Friday, where I was short and I was looking for a move down at least to the value area high, which is actually where we hit. And I did end up, obviously you guys saw me close one trade on stream, but that other trade I did close for a small profit, $600 profit. Yeah, and the other one I closed for, I think, what was it? $1,500 profit or something. So yeah, I feel like a similar situation right now, right? We got the red dot, all that kind of stuff coming on in. Coming on in. All right, so he knows what I'm talking about. You know, that chord, that weird chord everyone play. You know? So, shout out to everybody in the chat. Guys, make sure to like the dang stream, all right? We have 800 people in the chat. If we can get 800 likes in the next 5 minutes, yeah, I'll give away $250. Why not? Let's see if we can't pump the likes up to the watchers right now. All right, we'll give it 5 minutes for everyone to like the video. Then we'll give away $250. You know, what could go wrong? What could go wrong? So that's kind of what I'm looking at with Bitcoin here. Again, I do feel like a move to the upside is going to happen very soon, but the ways I think it could happen is either we just break out. A better way, an easier way, a more bullish way it could happen is we come up here, we come down here, and then we actually get the breakout, right? We come to the top of the local range, we get to move back down to the bottom of the range, we take out the low, forming, of course, if that happens, we would have a very bullish divergence. The money flow would be getting higher, the momentum waves would be getting higher, and as soon as we see that fake out, for me, that is a long signal, all right? And I'm talking like a swing long. Obviously, like, here's the thing, you can't like 100x leverage that unless you have a really low time frame entry. But even if you're on the daily, you know, the way you would do it is basically if we come down here, right, and then the daily candle closes above this level, then you have yourself the entry, you have yourself the stop loss, and our target now would be the Fibonacci golden pocket, in my opinion, up toward value area high, which is going to be around, I'd say that big liquidation bubble at 116 is a good target to have. You know, so that would be giving us, even if we take a profit at 108, that's a 4-to-1. If we wait till the liquidation bubble, it's a 5-6-to-1. Even if we're assuming a 6.5% stop loss, taking a nice lazy man's approach to trading on the daily time frame, you know, you close a daily wave above that level, and not a daily wave, but I mean, you close a daily candle above that level, and you're inevitably going to print some nice bullish div here, right? And I would highly assume that if we take this low and then close above, that this would be the bottom of the move, right? Before something like this, or, you know, On the off chance that this time really is different, consolidation and then BAM! You know, consolidación y BAM in español. Consolidación y BAM, mi amigo. BAM BAM, mi amigo! After consolidación. Right? So, that is what we're looking at. Now let's take a quick look at Ethereum. Man, Ethereum, honestly, I feel like we're in a very similar boat. The market structure does look more bullish here for ETH than it does for Bitcoin. And again, remember, when you have the green dots like this, I mean, there's 2 in a row right now. This is the ETH weekly is really making me bullish here. We have multiple bullish signs. First of all, we have the RSIs close together, touching. Last time it happened, guess what? It was the bottom in April. All right. Also, we know that when we print a green dot, it means either the low is in or the low is about to be in, right? Back here, we printed the first green dot, had a retracement, the low was already in before the pump, okay? Right here, we printed one green dot, we had a retracement, we're bouncing from the 786. And look, we have 5 hours until this weekly dot confirms here for ETH, all right? So within 5 hours, we might know if we have a double dotter right there. In this instance here, once that green dot confirmed, the low was in. This one confirms right here, and the low was not in, right? Unless you consider this low. I'm not going to consider that the low. I'm going to consider, let's go back to that. I'm going to consider this our initial low right up here, right? So this was our first low. Dot confirms, we pump, but then we just make a slightly lower low, and that slightly lower low was the bottom. And as soon as the candle confirms and closes above the level, that's confirmation that the low is in. And then look, this is the weekly chart. I mean, you have a million years to get into the position. You got yourself the confirmation, you got yourself your clearly defined stop loss, and then you could shoot for the top of the local range for a beautiful 4-to-1 risk reward trade. I mean, literally played out perfectly, right? So I feel like we're seeing something very similar happen right here. And again, we've had this kind of yellow, orange, you know, let's make it orange now. We'll make it yellow and orange, all right? We've had this easy to squeeze, it's easy to be cheesy kind of liquidity here. Now let's take a look at the order flow, all right? Let's take a look. We'll go to hang on. Here we go. Hang on. Let's go to, this is ETH on Bitget. Let's check out where the liquidity is here on ETH. All right, we'll go to that liquidity map. Oh, did we get our likes? Can I give away $250? Close, but not even close, actually. Close, but not even close. A close-up but no cigar. Close-up but no cigar. Speaking of cigars, put a 1 in the chat if you enjoy a good cigar every now and again. Let's see. Liquidation's heat map. Let me know what you feel about cigars. Very polarizing. Either people love cigars or they hate them. They say, why would you ever smoke a cigar? Okay, so look at this. All right. Massive amount of liquidations at 4,000 to 4,200. This lines up absolutely perfectly with our dang resistance at $4,000. Historical 4-year resistance up to our golden, our 786. I mean, literally, this is a recipe for squeezing and liquidating lots of shorts right into this zone here. All right, this is our first major area of liquidations on ETH. It lines up perfectly. The confluence is you know? Is this as much data as we have here for ETH on Bitget? It only goes back to September. Okay, all right, I'll take it. Okay, I'll take it, you know? So that's pretty nice. I think it would be easy to squeeze ETH up to this level if we flip 4,000 into support. I don't see why we couldn't see 5,500, all right? If we get another move to the downside on ETH, I would have to assume, just like Bitcoin, that we're going to see a fake out. I don't think you can be this oversold without seeing relief. Okay, now everybody's been waiting for relief. Relief hasn't come, which is why, again, if we do this, I would expect then the relief to come, because it looks like relief is going to come. And when relief looks like it's going to come and it doesn't come, then when you least expect it, it comes, which would be another dump to the downside. All right, another dump to the downside. I'm on the fence about joining your trading group, Jason. Well, if you're on the fence, then don't do it, man. That's all I can say. You have to be 100% in, right? You have to be convinced, all right? Smoking like 40 cigarettes a day for 10 years. You've been smoking 40 cigarettes a day for 10 years. Wow. That's crazy. Cigars are nasty. Vapes always. No tobacco, no alcohol. Body's the tempo. We got a super chat in the house. My buddy believes Jesus will make 2026 great again. Look, Jesus will make every year great for you. All right, no matter what. All right, so one thing we should all do in 2026 is seek the Lord and try and get closer to the Lord every single day. That's the only way we're actually going to have true peace and joy and satisfaction in life. Doesn't matter what else is going on in your life. From an outside perspective, you could have the best life in the world, or you could have the worst life in the world from an outside perspective. If you have a close relationship with the Lord, then you are going to be completely satisfied in that situation. All right? Shout out to XRP is way up. We'll check out XRP. Do I think meme coins will be a thing soon? I mean, probably, just because people are dumb, right? People are dumb, but I'm not really into meme coins. Besides, I hold Pepe, I hold Shiba Inu, I hold Doge. That's about it, right? Did I switch from XO? Yeah, I switched from XO to Market Monkey. You used to smoke a pack of Camel Lights a day. I traded them for a single cigar a day. Never have wanted a cigarette since. Cigars are made for victories. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. If the body is a temple, it's fine to incense it occasionally. Shout out to Preparing for War. Jason, that's not very convincing. To join the VIP, I'm not trying to convince anybody to do anything, alright? If you want to join the VIP because you think it's valuable, then join it, alright? And I'm sure you'll find it very valuable. If you don't think it's going to be valuable, don't join it. You know, what am I going to say? What am I going to say? You know? What am I going to say? I think it's valuable. I think it's one of the most valuable discords in the dang world, alright? But, I'm not gonna make anyone do it. What's my prediction? Crypto winter? Or will crypto pump this year? So, right now, I am open to many things, alright? However, my current way I'm leaning, alright, is we are headed into a bearish and a sideways and down 2026. But before that happens, it looks like we're going to experience a move to the upside. All right, before that happens, it looks like we're going to experience a bit of a pump, possibly to hit some high targets, you know, 114, 115, before another big move down, based on our weekly. All right, based on our weekly, I'm expecting something like that. All right, then I expect us to bottom out summer, fall 2026. And then the last few months of 2026 will be the beginning of the bull market, but everyone will be still bearish, right? Just like how the end of 2022 was the beginning of the bull market, but everyone was still bearish. We were still in the bear market, right? Just like how in 2018, right? We were still in the bear market. We were still ultra bearish, but then that began the bull market. Right? Then we had the just kidding bull market, reject from the dang Fibonacci golden pocket, as always, COVID dump, and then, but then then we pump, right? Pump City. Pump City, baby. Do I prefer Market Monkey over Coinlized? I do, preparing for more, but I haven't compared the aggregated CBDs. I just like it because it has way more options. You know, it's way closer to TradingView. You can draw on it just like you can Coinlized, but it gives you way more than Coinlized. You could look at the Delta clusters. There's so many dang indicators in here, and even ones that the community has made. There's so many. There's just tons. There's tons. There's tons. So, you know, there's way more options on this thing. You can pull fibs and all this. So this is basically what TradingView should be, in my opinion. But I still can't not use TradingView because I'm so used to charting on TradingView. I don't think I can make a switch. Not yet, at least. Not yet, at least. Shout out to Splashfire Films. God bless you, bro. Shout out to Daryl. He says VIP is awesome. Splashfire says so much value in the Casper crew. Nicotine boosts testosterone. That's a fact. I've heard that. I've heard that. I've heard that. Gold will dump, says Farat Chan. Really? Maybe. Maybe. Maybe gold will dump. I don't know. Nice haircut. Thanks, I guess. Is this a haircut? Let's get back to the Bitcoin chart here. Yeah, Bitcoin is getting a little bit of a move down here. Just a little bit. So here's kind of what I'm looking for, honestly, guys, on this short trade. And I'm just being totally real. I'm always real, all right? But now I'm just being totally real. I feel like we could do something like this. We come down, we come back up. Once we come back up, I would be very interested in adding to the trade upon taking these guys, right? Right into the Golden Pocket 786, and then go down for a Bart Simpson pattern. This is kind of what I'm thinking right now, all right? Obviously, I don't know if I'm going to do that yet. I have to wait and see what things look like here. If we see more bear CBD up here, then I'll add to this trade right now. All right, this is a starter position, so to speak, all right? Due to some bearish CBD. And yeah, let's refresh Market Monkey here. Let's get back to our Bitcoin chart. And let's go back to the 30-minute so I can show you guys what I mean by that is this. You can see longs opening up, price is not able to make higher highs, showing a little bit of absorption. Let me clear off this heat map here. Let's get on our brush tool. If we come down, we come back up, then I would be looking to wick above these highs into our Golden Pocket 786 zone, right? Where we also have like that 30-minute order block. So it's this zone right here. And if we see continued increase in CBD and continued increase in open interest, then that is a signal that, yeah, we're going to be doing something like this. All right, so we want to see the CBD getting higher, the open interest getting higher, and the price coming up into that zone, taking the liquidity, right? We already have the 12-minute top signal on Market Cipher B, showing that this is probably a local top. So all these things together is why I would look for a short in this area, right? I'm not saying I'm taking a short from that area. I'm saying I'm looking for a short, okay? There's a big difference between taking and looking, right? Taking and looking are two different things. Taking and looking are two different things. All right. Shout out to Crypto Hunter. I can read your messages, bro. What do you want me to do? Inge? All right, we'll look at Inge coin for Crypto Hunter. But before we do, I have to pee, all right? I'll be right back. right, major shout to Crypto Hunter. Crypto Hunter. We'll take a look at Inj, all right? Injective. Let's take a look. Well, this idea, I forget what we were talking about here. Oh, we're probably talking about a breakout and retest of this trend line. That didn't turn out to happen at all. So let's remove everything from the chart and let's start fresh, all right? This is our weekly chart on Inj. We'll take a look at the sideways range. Wow. Okay, we'll take a look at this. And we'll take a look at this. Okay, so we're... Okay, what can we say? We don't have any bull div, we don't have any hidden bull div. Money flow looks bearish. High volume node is $1.72. Daily time frame. We do have a nice little bullish div on the daily money flow momentum. All right, a potential bottom signal here, not filling the October 10th wick. Basically, right now, here's what I would be looking at. A potential long opportunity would be, this is a very local long opportunity, basically coming down into this box here and looking for something like this. Stop loss, a little bit below that ultimate low there, and then targeting up towards our value area high to basically liquidate all these guys here and probably come into our golden pocket 786. Yep. This would be a potential local long trade that I would be looking at here. If not, then I would expect us to fill the October 10th wick and maybe even go for the $2.46 liquidity down toward the high volume node. But yeah, this could be a local bottom here. Weekly doesn't look so great. Daily has some sign of strength. 4 hour money flow looks really nice on the 4 hour. I would say that, yeah, this would be a potential long I would look at. Now remember, you know, the only sign of strength we really have right now is very locally. We've taken out these highs after forming a nice bottom. All right, so we have not, like we tried to do that here and couldn't. We did not do that here. Yeah, so this is looking nice, like as a potential low. It's very early in the game, but I'd say coming back down to the bottom after having made that higher high, then we have our shoulder, head, shoulder. We have our bull div on the daily, beautiful money flow on the 4 hour, making me think the bottom could be in. Look for the back test, and then target the golden pocket, basically taking out all these guys here. We're looking for basically to come back and swipe all this, right? A break out of this channel wedge thing, all right? That's kind of what I would see here locally for potential setup there. Is there a CME gap at 90K? Shout out to Saad2725. We'll check it out. Bitcoin, Bitcoin, Bitcoin. What's Bitcoin doing? Oh, Bitcoin took the low. What do you know? Bitcoin took the low. What do you know? Man, can I read? I can't go back in time and draw what I drew here a second ago. But basically, it's doing what I was wanting it to do. Yeah, Bitcoin took the low. All right. Oh yeah, this is what I drew. Yeah, this is what I drew. All right. Bitcoin took the low, and now we're getting moved back up. I'm looking to add to a short trade around this area if we see continued bearish CVD. Let's check out if we have a CME gap here at 90K. Yeah, we do. We have a CME gap at 90K this week. So yeah, so don't be surprised if that short trade plays out down to around 90K, which is gonna be our dang Fibonacci golden pocket. I mean, don't be surprised if this plays out, man. That's a lot of confluence there. Yeah. Don't be surprised if that plays out. Alright, shout out to Rich and HH. God bless. Yeah, I know this sounds bad. I know. Sounds bad. Treadmill can be heard. I know. I have to look, I just got a new mic, and apparently I suck at using mics. Alright? My name's not Mike! Alright, my name's not Mike! Let's check out XRP for the super chat. Thank you so much, Rich and HH, for the super chat. The super chat. Let's remove this thing. CME gap indicator. Alright, so XRP, honestly, is looking quite interesting. Because of this. You know, depending on how we draw this here. It looks like we are breaking out of this giant falling wedge. Alright, let's go to the weekly. We will confirm a green dot in 5 hours, guys. It does look like a very significant low is in for XRP. I'm going to go with the same for Bitcoin and ETH, which is if the low is not in, it's very close. I really like this low, actually, on XRP because look at this. Look what we have here. Shoulder, head, shoulder. If we take this line, just put it here at this low, we basically had our support, fake out, back test, and now a change of market structure. We have not seen this structure change before. And so, yeah, so here's what I'd be looking for now on XRP. If things dump upon the open, I would definitely be interested in a back test of sorts, coming down to maybe around $1.95 down to $1.85, that 10-cent zone for a higher low. And I would then be interested, again, not financial advice, I'm not planning to do this, by the way. I'm not planning to actually do this myself, but if I was looking for a trade on XRP, this would be it. Alright, this would be it. Alright, let's pull some volume, let's get some more precise targets here. Alright, this would actually be it here. Yep, yep. This would be it. I'd be shooting for value area high, golden pocket, and high volume node of this little range here. This is going to give us about 4 or 5 to 1 risk reward. Honestly, it looks pretty good. I'll be honest. I'm not planning to do this, by the way. Am I still using Antarctic? Yes. Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna fix my mic by tomorrow, guys. All right. Thought I was gonna spit some bars to this track. Maybe next time. I need a better mic. All right. Need a better mic. All right, guys. I'm gonna be heading out. I hope everyone has a wonderful Sunday evening. God bless everybody in Jesus' name. And Lord willing, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Make sure to like, subscribe, click the bell. Peace.